Hey everybody, Josie here, and I know I've been away for a while. Haven't gone to the movies, so I haven't had anything to review. And I was gonna go to the movies today, but something came up and it just got kind of late, and I didn't go. And maybe I could go later tonight, but I don't want to leave you guys empty-handed again this week. So I'm gonna be talking about the Netflix show The Defenders. Now, The Defenders is the culmination of like these four Netflix shows that we've had: Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and most recently Iron Fist. And there's their big team up show, Avenger style. And been like one of my most anticipated things to see or to watch, and I've been looking forward to this since pretty much they announced it. And even though Iron Fist was such a misfire and a letdown, and very torturous to get through, it took me like months to get through that show. But even with that, I was really excited to get this show, and so I'm just gonna break it down. I'll try not to have any big spoilers, and for those who haven't seen the show yet. Uh, but I will give my honest opinion. And anyway, let's get through. Let's get to this. Let's. Bleh. Okay, let's go. So the show starts off. I think uh, very with a very weak first episode. If this were to premiere like on TV, where you were watching week to week, honestly, I feel like many people will not watch past the first episode, and that's because nothing really happens. It's supposed to be the Defenders where they team up. But yet the first episode is all set up, and normally with a regular show that'd be okay, but we've had four different shows. 2 seasons of Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. We have four shows, you know, to set this up, and you're gonna, and they're not even gonna show. They're not even gonna team up or meet each other on the first episode. That's a letdown. And in a way, I can forgive that first episode because you kind of do have to get certain characters acquainted with the Hand. I know Iron Fist and Daredevil, they're already up to date with the Hand. They know about them and all this stuff. But characters like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, they never encountered the Hand or directly. So to them, for them, yeah, I understand the setup for them. But ultimately, it does slow the show down, and it starts off very slow. The second episode, honestly, is not that much better. And again, nothing happens. They do eventually meet at the end of this episode, and when they finally meet, it's good. Their interactions together towards each other is great. But again, you had almost two full episodes with them not encountering each other. That's a big misstep. And that's kind of my issue with the show. It's only 8 episodes, and even then, I feel like it's way too long. You could have told this story probably better with just 5 episodes. I think honestly, I would cut it down to four, but five, I think that's the most that you could have without it getting boring. Because there's just a bunch of stuff that just doesn't matter. You're introduced to Sigourney Weaver's character, and honestly, when she was announced, I was really really excited because this is a high caliber actress coming to the show. So yeah, you get excited hearing that name and seeing what she's gonna do with her role. Unfortunately, I think she was terribly misused. She wasn't written all that well, and ultimately she was wasted. And she just didn't have that depth that someone like Kilgrave had in Jessica Jones, or Cottonmouth with Luke Cage, or even Kingpin with Daredevil. Um, Now she's not terrible, and she's not completely unlikable. You know what she's after. They're pretty clear. But the problem is, you know what they're after, but they're dancing around it, and they're dragging it out. That's what the show feels like. It feels like they're just dragging out the plot for longer than it needs to be. Like, we know what needs to happen, but it's not happening. And ultimately, it just makes this show kind of boring, which is a shame because I was so excited for this. By no means is it a bad show, and it's not terrible. And I did, um, when you're trying to gauge whether I liked it or disliked the show, I generally liked it, but there are a lot of things that keeps this from being like one of my favorite shows, or one of my favorite in these Marvel Netflix shows. And like I said, they just dance around the plot way too much. I also get really tired of the characters they get together. They're trying to discuss a plan. This happens a lot throughout the show, where someone says something, and then there's a bunch of mystic stuff with the with the Iron Fist, and all this stuff. And you always get a character saying, "Oh, that's just crazy. That's crazy talk. That's impossible." And it does, because it does sound like crazy talk. All this mystic stuff. A guy who's destined to destroy the hand or immortality, all that stuff. It does sound crazy, but you can only take so much of the characters saying it over and over again. And then you introduce the secondary characters who are introduced again with that same plot, and then you hear them saying it's crazy. And it's just something that drove me crazy, just them, hearing them saying how crazy this all is. Like, yeah, we get it, it's crazy. Uh, Another problem I had was with some of the secondary characters. Like, we're shown a bunch of the characters from all the other shows, but ultimately none of them really do anything. They're just there to kind of raise the stakes a bit, so you can see what everyone's fighting for in a way. Um, but then again, you bring back a character like Misty Knight, and honestly, she's she's the one character from like all the Netflix shows that I hate the most, and probably the only one that I do hate. Even something like Iron Fist, where I did not like the show, it was generally boring. Danny Rand, I never hated him. I just felt he was very boring and bland. But Misty Knight, I hate her so much in the show, and in Luke Cage as well. And I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know if it's the actress or it's just the way she's written. But honestly, I think it's the way she's. It's a combination of the way she's written and the way she acts her scenes out. She's very unlikable. I have no idea what to think of her or what her purpose is, and she just every time she's on screen, I'm just like, but yeah, she just brings the show down for me. I don't know what other people think of Misty Knight. I know, I know of other people who also dislike her a lot as well, and I haven't heard any positive things about her, so I don't know. Um, Other than that, I think she's the only secondary character that I really dislike. Everyone else is just kind of there, and they serve no real purpose. Like, other than what I said, raise the stakes a bit, and that's fine. It works for the most part as long as you keep them out of the way. Um, my problem with one of the side characters was Colleen Wing. Um, it's nice for her to come back, because this show generally feels like a natural progression from Iron Fist, and so it's nice to see them together from where they left off, because it makes the most sense. However, she has an arc, which is cool that you're including her and you're giving her something to do, but ultimately her arc in this show is the same one she had in Iron Fist, and it's something she dealt with and pretty much uh, dealt with in season 1 of Iron Fist. So it feels like a retread of old material. And again, it feels like filler, because it is. It's something we've already seen, but we're seeing it again. We're like, okay, whatever's. I guess if you haven't seen Iron Fist, then it should be something you could you could accept and won't bother you as much, because you haven't seen it yet. So that I get. Uh, this is better than Iron Fist, and it finally redeems Danny Rand's character. He's not boring or as terrible as he was before. Uh, and this is where I think he should have been in the first season. While he's not the best character ever, he has enough depth and dimension that he's not as bland as he was before. The only bland character from the main four, unfortunately, I think is Luke Cage. And it's not because he's terrible or anything like that. I think he's good as a role. I think the way he's written is okay. The problem is there's not a lot of depth to him. With a character like Jessica Jones, where she's kind of all screwed up, that brings a lot of dimension, a lot of depth to her character because she's not bad, but she's not on board with this completely, and you can tell she just doesn't want to be there, but you know ultimately she sticks with it. And then you have a character like Daredevil, which we've seen the 2 seasons of Daredevil. He's the character who has the most depth and the most complexity, just because he's finding these two sides of him, this duality of being the devil of Hell's Kitchen and Matthew Murdock, the lawyer, and you see him struggle with that, and that stuff is fascinating. We got a lot of it in season 1 and 2 of Daredevil, and it's nice that we see the natural progression of that. So, like I said, it does continue that progression that we left off in the other shows, and that I like. Um, but Luke Cage, he's very one dimensional. He's this guy who has all this power. He's bulletproof, but all he wants to do is just be good, and that's kind of the main problem. Is that he's too good. Like he has no flaws whatsoever. Um, they kind of say that he's not perfect, but everything that what you see on screen doesn't illustrate that. He's pretty much portraying this perfect guy. Who has no flaws whatsoever, and well, that's cool, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It just kind of makes his character a little bland compared to the other ones. Even Iron Fist has more complexity here than Luke Cage does. But again, that's just my opinion. And ultimately, it's just a nitpick because I think he's fine and is not terrible. The fight scenes, I think the fight scenes are really great, but they're so few and far between. Like I said, nothing happened in the first episode. Nothing happens again in the second. And the third one, you get this probably the best scene out of the whole show. The best fight scene when they first team up. And ultimately, nothing after that comes close to it. There's some cool character moments with like Stick, where I think Stick is probably my favorite. Next to Jessica Jones, I think he's great. But yeah, everything else just. I don't know. There's a few fights, but a few of the fights kind of don't lead anywhere, and you get a lot of moments where the characters are just standing or setting up a plan, but it happens for like a whole episode and doesn't progress the story. And like I said, it all feels like filler. Um, some of the fights are just filler, and uh, it's like I'm not complaining about the action. I won't say I want more action because I think an action scene should serve the purpose of the plot. And if you're just throwing the action scene here to fill time, it's no different to me than throwing in a monologue or something like that. It all needs to make sense, and it doesn't. It needs to progress naturally. So a lot of it doesn't. So ultimately, you know, about me complaining about the show. I think it's a decent show. It's definitely better than Iron Fist, and it's not terrible. It's the fact that it's only 8 episodes. It's easy to watch, but even then, even with the 8 episodes, I think even then, I think it's too long. I think it should be 5, and you would have a very concise and perfect storyline. And again, I can't stress how much Sigourney Weaver is wasted. Her character here is just, I don't know. Other than that, I think the rest of the cast is fine. Everyone does their part, and I do like the natural progression of these characters. But I feel like they had to speed it up in certain instances, and they didn't. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Defenders. Let me know what you guys think. Honestly, I haven't read any reviews for this, so I don't know if I'm like an outcast where everyone else loves the show, but maybe I'm the only one that hates it, or maybe everyone's on my, or maybe we all share the same opinion. So I'm gonna check that after this video is posted. But yeah. But before I go, I just kind of stress how much I love Jessica Jones. It's like whenever she's on screen, it's just like perfection. Just her character is just so great. She's my favorite out of all these. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, if you're upset about my review, go ahead and talk about it in the comments. Like like I said, I won't. I'm not. I'm not like super critical, or I don't think I'm the voice of reason or whatever. So if you guys think my opinion is wrong, go ahead. Let me know. Let me know why you think I'm wrong, or what makes this show better than what I think it is. Or what makes it better for you. And yeah, thanks to you guys for watching. I'll probably post another video where I'll rank the shows based on how I like them. So stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you, and bye.